Hi, this is my final presentation for my iOS app. Since I'm a math faculty, I created an app that helps brief calculus students prepare for the class. It's primarily a college algebra review app for business students. Many of these students have a gap between their college algebra and their calculus class. If they don't remember properties of the various function families and properties of exponents, it's hard for them to get started in calculus. That's kind of the need that this app meets. I have a link to a college algebra review course in my calculus class, but many students find it overwhelming because it's too much information, so they don't really use it. This app is interactive, and it's targeted to provide exactly the information that students need to know in order to get started with calculus without reviewing an entire course. The target audience for the app are students from 18 to 24 years old, evenly split between men and women. Demographically, these students have little time or money to waste, as many of them work full-time as well as attending college. Almost all of them have an older cell phone, so I designed the app for either the iPhone SE or the iPhone 8, although it still renders well on a 10.5-inch iPad. So let's move into actually getting the app started, and I will walk us through the features. Okay, I start out with a splash screen, which has an image on it that presents itself while the app is loading. Again, I didn't make it animated, and I didn't add a lot of bells and whistles to the app because, again, I didn't want to overwhelm the students. So this image is also the icon that launches the app on the home screen. Okay, so it starts out with a pretty simple interface. Okay, we have a picker here that lets students choose a topic to review. Okay, and also to have them do an interactive quiz to check their understanding. Okay, so let's pick, say, odd polynomial functions, and then click review. Okay, when I go to the secondary screen, you can see you get an image of the graph of a standard odd polynomial function. Here's the equation of the graph. There's also information on the domain and the range, continuity, and whether or not the function is increasing or decreasing. Okay, here is a scrollable text view that describes more completely some of the characteristics of the function that might be of use to students taking calculus, such as end behavior, turning points, which turn into maxima and minima, and possibly intercepts. So again, you'll notice in order, as far as meeting design requirements, we have the wayfinding here with a back button that takes us back to our main screen so students can find their way around. Okay, also there's this consistency in the design, namely each of these screens, let's pick a different one, also has exactly the same layout, so they get an image with an equation, domain, continuity, increasing, decreasing, and then more scrollable information. So all of this information is presented in the same way. Okay. Also, if you notice, I kind of created a nice symmetric app here by lining up the buttons and the picker along the midline of this page. Also, I'm keeping the view of them pretty similar, so the buttons all kind of look alike. Students can tell that what they have here is a button to click. Okay, so that's a certain amount of familiarity with them. Okay, so let's take a look at the quiz. Okay, and again, what I did here is I have a minimal amount of real estate on the screen here, but I'm trying to get information, as much information as I can here. Okay, so what I have here is a randomized set of questions. So if the student does the quiz over and over, the questions don't present in the same exact order to kind of prevent them from memorizing answers. But again, you can see this is information that's based on what they would have reviewed in the previous screens. So the minimum number of turning points of an odd degree polynomial is, well, odd degree polynomials don't turn, okay, as a rule. Okay, they don't have to. So the answer should be 0. Okay, and here's an example of some feedback to the user. Okay, if they get the answer correct, it says correct. And again, I kind of grouped the buttons down here so they can see what they need to do. We've got a segmented control that matches the letters in the question responses so they know which one to pick. And again, the buttons are grouped together so they can tell which way they, what they need to do, either start over or click next for the next question. Okay, let's take a look at this one. A rational function's horizontal asymptote. Well, the correct answer is A. It depends on the relative degree of the numerator and denominator, but let's put in a wrong answer so you can get an answer, a feedback. Okay, so the user will actually see, oh no, I got that one wrong. That's not correct. So what I've done is I've created 15 questions here that users can answer. Okay, so let's just do some of these and we can kind of see what we got here. Okay, the one thing that I haven't done is I haven't put in a larger set of questions that then I can randomly select from. That would be a great enhancement for the future. Another enhancement would be to randomize the order that the answers show up in rather than always in the same area, the same letter. Okay, and what happens at the end, okay, is this label will show you how many you got right out of the 15 that you were quizzed on. And if you decide you want to take the quiz again, you would just start over. Okay, and again, here's an example of wayfinding, which takes us back to this main screen. Okay, again, the idea is we want to try to make this app as understandable to students as possible. Again, trying to get them to realize, okay, I'm going to click on these buttons to either review or quiz yourself, and I'm going to, use the back buttons to navigate forward and backward. Okay, again, the app isn't super complicated, primarily because of the challenges that I ran into with design. It was difficult to fit everything on a small screen like this and still have it be readable. So I kind of minimized the amount of complexity that I built into it. Also, I would have preferred, if I go back here to review, okay, you can see over here I have some mathematical symbols in domain, and I'm rendering those with Unicode. But it would be nice if I had the ability to actually put in LaTeX. Okay, that would also have been better for the quiz. I would have been able to ask a wider variety of questions rather than the ones I have. And that would also be a future enhancement. I had difficulty getting that to work, so I wasn't able to implement it. And also initially I thought of having 8 separate screens rather than a picker. Okay, but then I realized that it would be better from the point of view of consistency and understanding for the user to just have one view controller handle all of these different screens. Okay, so I managed to design it in a way to pass the information from this view to the subsequent view. So you can see they all pretty much look the same. And again, if I turn the phone sideways, it'll render nicely that way. Okay. So as far as future fixes and improvements, like I said, I would incorporate LaTeX. I would have a bigger question bank to pull from, and I would probably have those as an external file rather than built into the program itself. Another suggestion that was made by one of the instructors was to actually have video links in this information. Okay, so I'm thinking that instead of text down here, to actually have a video that, say, describes the characteristics of a rational function. And if my plans for actually deploying this would be to give it to students and perhaps survey them on its ease of use or its usefulness, maybe have them describe to me how they would navigate their way through it. Another possibility is to do a pre and post test on their performance in a calculus class before using this and after using this. So again, I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and I appreciate any feedback or suggestions you have on my app. Thanks a lot.